Hey everybody, what's going on? Christian from Treasure Town here, and I paid a little over $16,000 for this very heavy package that's in my hand, and I can't wait to open it up. So let's check it out, and I'll show you what I got. Over 600 coins in here, a ton of silver, like pounds and kilos worth. So let's take a look at what's inside. And at first, I started to just open this whole package, and I was like, hey, I probably should actually give a bit more explanation and not just show you a final product. So I started opening this. I bought 600 5 franc and Latin Monetary Union coins, and so we'll explain a little bit about that. There's also this super cool pouch that this seller included. I'll give more context on it at the end of the video, but basically they gave me a gift that they gave me heads up about, just because it was kind of tough to get it all into the States, and so, you know, when you're exporting a big thing like that, it's gonna cost a lot. There's gonna be a lot of fees, and they were figuring it out for the first time. But all of these, this first batch that I opened, seemed to be Leopold II 5 franc coins, and these are interesting because they're part of the Latin Monetary Union, which I just looked up. And it was established in 1865, so it aligns perfectly with these. I think these were made from, call it like 1867 to 1876, I want to say, on the 5 franc design. Could be wrong. But basically, and yeah, really decent looking. It was originally by France, Belgium, Italy, and Switzerland. They all basically go on the same currency standard. And so they would make their large crown-sized coin a 22.5 gram of actual silver weight, basically 25 gram, 90% silver coin. And so that's what we're looking at right here. And so they had a 15.5 to 1 silver to gold ratio, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then these coins would have been accepted in all the other countries in that union. So you could have spent them in France, you could have spent them in Belgium, you could have spent them in Italy. Kind of an interesting early attempt. I think that there was a bit of a currency crash and a silver crash in the 1870s, and so a couple of different countries ended up limiting their coinage production, and all of a sudden, they weren't really being used as circulating coinage to much of an extent. So kind of sweet. I think that the other cool thing is that there's coins that were sort of unofficially made. I think before the standard came into effect, there were plenty of coins that had been struck that would have conformed to them, and so those are going to be some of the other French coins that we unbox later in this video, hopefully. And so all just interesting, I think, to know about. And yeah, I mean, my thought here is I'm going to open up the best. I'm going to separate like the best maybe 70 or 80 of these 200 or so, and be right back. I feel like you probably don't want to watch me open all of those necessarily. All right, and next up, I think this is pretty cool. I'm just going to talk these briefly, and then I'll go sort all of them. But these are the 5 franc Hercules design, and it says Liberty, Equality, Brotherhood, as you can see on the front of that coin. That one I really like the reverse, and looks like there's a bunch of different mint marks, which will be slightly collectible, unlike, I don't think tons of them are rare, but I think that BB is Strasbourg, A is Paris, K I'm not sure, maybe it's like Tours or Lyon, and that one's also Paris mint. But basically, I didn't know these were actually initially this design that features Hercules pretty prominently. That was actually started during the French Revolution. So I always thought that this was like, oh, it's 1848, we just had a revolution, and that's 1848 is a year of revolution in Europe, and we kicked the French king off the coins, who we're about to see in just a moment. But no, not the case. Instead, this started, in the original revolution. They bring it back. Obviously, Napoleon the Third is going to come in, and he is back on the coins with his obverse. So then in the Third Republic, after his defeat, they are able to get him back on the coins. So these all should be... Oh, this one's actually 1848. That is awesome. I was going to say these are probably all going to be 1870s, and there's like a 73, and there's a 73, and there's also a 73. That is fantastic. Well, I'll also be taking a look and making sure, all the earlier years are extra special to me. As I see it, I'll try to get a good mix, because I have some wholesale buyers who have already bought a bunch of these coins, but like there's 1849, nice. So I'm going to try to keep for my whatnot sales and some of my other direct selling, some of the interesting mint marks and maybe better dates. And now that that's done, we are going to, and I'm probably going to pause the video before I go through these just to check for what the key dates might be. And at some point, I'm going to memorize all those French mint marks. But these are earlier. These are 1830 to 1848. They are 5 franc Louis Philippe the First coins. So this one's 1832. Actually pretty decent condition. So I'm pretty pleased with the first coin we're looking at. And it says Louis Philippe the First, Roi des Français, is King of the French, which is different from like the King of France. So that's like a detail that they, he includes on purpose. There's also a lot of these like privy marks. I think that those are what mint master would have struck them. And there we see a B mint. There's an A mint. So that one's Paris. I bet we'll get a variety. There's a D, and that one is minted at W. So tons of different mints. That's awesome. But the Revolution of 1848, again, this was the guy that was kicked out. He flees to England, and the rest is history. Not really, because Napoleon again comes back in a couple of moments later. That's an earlier bust of his, so as you can tell, there's like a more crowned portrait, and then there's just the regular portrait. I'm not sure exactly why they'd made that swap, but I'm going to go check out what the keys to look for are, and then be right back. I doubt that they'll be in this group because I bought this from an established French company, but you never know. All right, so mostly as anticipated, nothing crazy in the Louis Philippe coins. There were 2 that I wanted to point out. This one has an error. It looks like there was some kind of a lamination error, and it's since circulated, so it's not going to add too much to the coin, but probably a little bit of value. Basically, some kind of defective planchet meant that some of the coin fell off and separated from it, so it's not, it's since worn, but that does not, to me, look like somebody carved it out of the coin, so that's pretty cool. And this one's even more minor, but basically, isn't that a cool die crack? Basically, I used that word too many times, and you can tell that my hands have been sorting French and Belgian 5 francs, but as the dies strike a bunch of coins, sometimes they wear down. In this case, they chipped along the top lettering of Roi des, King of. And so the die chipped, the metal filled in the blanks, and that's why we see what looks like a little bit of a lightning bolt going down the top, at about 1 to 2 o'clock. So that's pretty fun. What else did we get? First call out is that I bought a bunch of these French 100 francs, and these are circulating commemoratives. So you forget that this would have had about a value of 15 bucks in terms of the historical exchange rate. And so when silver wasn't that expensive, this was not anything special in terms of being more valuable as it's silver. You still could use a 100 franc coin for about $15. It's kind of like, I think that's about the silver even today is like $12. So it had a higher value. So that could be the type of coin, if we were going to do a $20 coin here in the States, that we would use. Would kind of change the game. I feel like it's got to be heavier than a $20 bill, but there were all different types of designs that we got. Really interesting homage to the series type. This one also pays homage to the earlier. This is a design that was on a lot of the early French coins, and so just a lot of their history. We also got a couple of one-off items. We had a really interesting 1752 Trésor Royal Jeton of King Louis XV. We also got, here's a 1782 Liard, so some interesting fleur-de-lis. There's King Louis XVI on there. Here is, even dating back to the Sun King, Louis XIV, mentions them ruling over the Spanish province of Navarre with a nice city scene on the back. And a couple of other ones, a random coin of Constantine the Great. That's pretty sweet. The Genio Populi Romani. Romani. I was going to say Romano, but it is Romani. And then here, we got some interesting French coppers. That's, I guess, maybe a 12 denier. I'm not sure. 1782. I'm going to have to do a little bit more on the research front there, which will be interesting. So a couple other coins. Again, Louis the 16th, 1787. And then back here we had I think, double tournoi from 1637, a little bit earlier on, of King, I always forget. Some of them are also not kings. They can be some of the provincial leaders, but I'll have to do the inventorying later. Anyways, and I forgot the gift. I know it's in it because the person, I bought from not like a specific person, but then after ordering $16,000, they're like, that's a cool gift. So I've opened it with one hand. I've gotten almost all the coins out, and let me know what you see interesting. 1845, 5 francs. neat coin. Let's show the other gifts. Pretty sweet. Napoleon III, King of the French, 1867. We've also got a nice looking Spanish 5 pesetas, Alfonso, and I like that old toning, very cool, 1888. And then last but not least, we've got another nice 1871 Amadeo. But what's off about them? These are all counterfeits. So gotta watch out, because I found that, you know, I probably would have been fooled by one or two of them. Now when they clink around, actually this one is real. That's funny. I was gonna say, I thought that he mentioned sending 5 and the other one is still in the pocket. But just a really good reminder, you want to get something like a Sigma, you want to be confident in the source that you're purchasing from. I bet, actually, I'm gonna go get a scale and we can weigh them and compare to what the other coins would have weighed. All right, so as you can see, a real one is going to weigh 24.9 grams, about 25 grams. I bet if I find another one here, it'll weigh pretty similarly, 24.77. You know, shows maybe losing 8% over, you know, after wearing down over a long period of time, something like that. So let's put these to the test. Immediately way underweight, 18.08. So if it's going to be the same size, it depends on the metal, but it should be pretty underweight. This one feels kind of light too, 1778, no chance it's real. I feel like the Spanish ones look a little better, but I'm guessing that, you know, 22.5, that's about 10% underweight. It's not going to be that level of off, and we'll do, just for good measure, the other ones all weighing wrong, and that was the last one. I feel like it's called a revolutionary type. Anyways, super interesting. Hope you enjoyed the big time unboxing. A lot of interesting history that I learned about. Really hadn't heard at all of those circulating commemoratives prior, and a couple of interesting ones to inventory that I'll be doing a little bit more work on later tonight. So thanks so much for checking it out, and I will see you on some future Treasure Town videos.
Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to head on over to treasuretown.com and sign up for our email list to stay up to date on everything that's happening, whether it's auction updates, exciting new inventory drops, coin collecting news, or general informational resources. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on another one.